have to really show a lot on there, so
Gotcha.
I really want to see if I can blow this up here. Let's open this up. There we go. Will it clear up for me? Yeah, I didn't hear from my guy in Milwaukee about his credit thing. Was a picture on there, but don't worry about it because any picture it doesn't even show up on here. It's perfect. It's not in here, so we're good. The man of the fajita man. I got some. My story is a little crazy. Just so you know, they're weird, but it's all real. Like it's not. I don't know how I found these new stories, but it's something else. Okay, I'll get to it right away. I mean, as far as yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're just focus on my shirt. It'll dry up because it's hot in here. Of course,
No cool points, lost.
no, I mean it's water. It's not wine, so cool. I'll take it. On camera, it'll be fun. I'll turn away. It'll dry before it shows up. We good?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, not bad.
You got the other camera working? Over there?
Yeah.
Ned? You got the other one working?
It's on, but it's not. I'm not running it.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what?
It happens.
I'm good. I don't
It
need
might be blue. It's on.
it.
White.
It's white. It ain't blue.
It runs. I'm just not using that shot. Yeah.
Oh, good. I wasn't ready for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I lost my claws yesterday. That was good.
Yeah, that would be nice. I ain't gonna say, you know.
I don't know what happened. I didn't have time to fix it though. So. It's okay.
Oh, she did get the other two. She got the. I sent her the email for her too, so she'll add them. So when we talk about it, we'll mention those new ones, and she'll be able to pop it up for you as we talk through the new ones. Mhm.
Only one in the family and friends.
Oh man.
Just no way.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Some people are. What's the word? Too nice. I guess I'll use that. I'll just say that. So it's good to let people hear somebody that is in that field and has books that can probably help them get some type of advice. To me, that's what's important.
Oh yeah.
Is just getting information out to people. I have a lot of fun episodes, but I wanted to do this one because I feel like in our community, there's a lot of people that need information or don't have it. I got you. So it's really important to me. Like I said, I have a lot of fun with variety shows, different, it's a raunchy, different, sketchy subjects. But this one is more for like, just to give people different pace. And show them my diversity. I know I talk about a lot of different things, still talk about regular show stuff, but what the wealth is very serious for our communities. Absolutely. So,
All right.
okay.
That.
Janelle, did you pass me that pen?
That's one.
That pen? It's right there.
Oh.
welcome to this wonderful Wednesday hump day. Of course, this is Kicking Back with J-Co. I am J-Co, your host. Thank you for being here with me. I have a special guest host, as I do every week. This is a little more special because it means more to episode 3, What the Wealth. This is my good friend now, and hopefully forever, Mr. Sean J. Harris.
How's it going today, everybody?
So, yeah.
Thank you.
A 4-time at one point until recently this week. He's now a 6-time author. So I'm definitely honored to have you on and rocking with me, kick back with me.
Thank you very much.
All right. Before we get into it, I would love to, to have the people just tell them a little bit about yourself before we go into our interview later on.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Original grade baby.
Okay.
A few of us still around.
yeah.
And grew up in the Decatur area. Went to Columbia High School here in Atlanta area.
Okay.
And I just remember growing up, my dad always told me that I had 3 choices when I got out of school. And that was going to be either go to the military, get a job, or go to college.
Okay.
And didn't want to go to college. I figured I got as much as I needed in those compacted 12 years.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah, so I was just a C student, just wanted to see my way out of there. And,
I heard that.
So went to the Air Force. Had a background in aerospace propulsion aeronautics.
Okay.
And subsequently got out of that, got into law enforcement for quite a while, and segued out of that and started a couple real estate companies.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're doing pretty well for yourself. You got 6 books and you published and you're doing good things. So again, I'm very happy to have you on this hot Wednesday in Atlanta.
Very hot.
The temperature jumped about 20 degrees from yesterday, but that's another story for another day. What we do here is, like I said, I'll give you the explanation. And to those who haven't seen the show that are tuning in, it's a variety show. We go over a lot of different subjects first, and then we go over our main subject, which is what the wealth. That is our topic of the day. But first, we have a little other things we do, which the first thing is the meme of the week. Every week I always have one when I do the show. We have 2 memes that we post. This one's our money related, of course. So, yeah, exactly. Love that meme of the week. So I'm gonna get those posted so everybody can see them. You can vote on them, and it will show a winner, just like we do every week. The first one is obviously tax season. We know about tax season, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not be fake about it here, especially our black people. When it's regular tax season, you're looking like the unpredictable Jamie Foxx from the album. When you tax season over, the rest of the year you look like, Django Unchained, before he actually won. But, that's just the first one. And then the second one, and we're going to talk about this later anyways, the face you make when you see somebody spending money and they owe you money. And I know everybody can relate to that to some way, shape, or form. So go ahead and vote on those memes. Take a look at them. You can vote on them if you want to. You talk about them in the timeline. We got comments. Please feel free to share. You can always call into the radio station. We have the number listed too as well. So you want to do that, 478-569-6474. Feel free to come in and dial in whenever you want to for any part of the subject, especially when we get into the context with what the wealth in the interview with Mr. Harris himself. All right, let's move on. Now to my nice little favorite segment of the show. What the hell happened this week? So that's what we talk about. Basically, we talk about different things that happened the last time we were on. So that's what the hell happened this week is about, and we're gonna get into that briefly.
Hey, what happened?
That's right. So here we go. The NBA Finals is obviously, it's been the huge thing going on. Do you keep up with basketball, Monty James?
A little bit. I just kind of pretty much checked in the sport.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people. Hey, you know what? There's a lot of people that don't keep up. So, me, basketball is my first love. So I always, try to include some type of sports and give people a different taste on it. LeBron had he has no help. Okay, let me just give you a brief update on that. He has 0 help. And it kind of came to fruition even in Game 1. If you didn't watch, it was they were talking about his memes everywhere about his teammate. He went the wrong way. It was tie game. And George Hill, the other guy at the free throw line, made the free throw. He missed the second free throw, and J.R. Smith grabbed the ball and ran the half court. He claimed at first he knew he knew they were tied, but he didn't know that the game was tied. So it went to overtime and they got slaughtered. Unfortunate for them, but the game is coming on tonight, Game 3 in Cleveland. So that'll be exciting to find out and see what happens there, because I'll have 2 more games before I come back on the show. Maybe even be over by that time. So we'll get into that. But you don't like basketball. What is your favorite sport since I'm getting into that?
I like UFC actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's one.
Little beat up, drag them down.
Okay. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that is that something that was emerging, you know, in the United States? So it's
Yeah.
something to come up because people are really moving away from boxing, so moving into that realm. So that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. In other sports news, Donald Trump cancels the Eagles' visit. You know, they won a Super Bowl last year, and they were supposed to visit the White House. Apparently, it was roughly 10 to 15 members of that team that were going to go. And he got upset because, you know, it's 55 people on the NFL team, and you get 10 to 15 people who want to go, and he go ahead and disinvites them, basically. The invitation was canceled over what Trump said is a disagreement on standing during the national anthem. Now, let's be very clear about that. That is not what happened. That is not true. Not only did the mayor clarify that, the coaches and a lot of players spoke out on social media about that wasn't the reason they were attending. They were definitely, and most of those players didn't kneel. Some of them stood with a fist in the air. And it was all for social inequality and injustice for people in minority neighborhoods and their injustice dealing with the police and police brutality. It had nothing to do with the flag or patriotism or the military, which it was hijacked by Donald Trump and made that the narrative, which kind of put them on their tails end, which I didn't like. In other news, we actually have a video of them because what they did was Donald Trump said he still wanted to have a ceremony and it was pompous and he had people come and it was a military army, a chorus and another chorus that showed up and he was like, we're going to play the anthem loudly. And a lot of reporters and people stood up and one interesting thing happened. A guy who I have to mention is a Caucasian, he did something that NFL players do. And I got a video, so I want to show people if they haven't watched it. I really think that it's pretty interesting that he decided to do this. And you know what, I felt great about it. I'm not gonna lie about it. It was pretty interesting. So we'll take a look at that video and show what he did. That's right. Now, he just kneeled like every NFL player that decided to do that. And he did it on the White House lawn. If that's not bold, I don't tell you what is. Not to mention, he's white, and that's pretty interesting to me because they're always saying, "What's always the whites doing this?" He was one that felt and understood what Colin Kaepernick was doing from the jump, and that's so important for our neighborhoods. And I had to mention that and put that video up. I'm glad that I got that footage. Thank you, Janelle. I appreciate that because that was probably something that I really stood for. I really believe that Colin Kaepernick is from Milwaukee. I'm from Wisconsin as well, so that didn't hurt. But I believed in what he was saying. I believed in why he kneeled initially and the initial reasoning why. So to me, it was important to show it on my show because as much as I joke and have variety and fun, but it's at the end of the day, I still believe that there's several injustices in our communities and needs to be addressed by everybody. So it's not just a person of higher power that has money. It's somebody that, like myself, that can try to make a change in my area or do something different. Everybody can play their part. They don't have to give millions of dollars, but they can give some of their time or their energy to it if they use it for anything else. So that was why I decided to host that.
That was pretty cool. That was the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, and people don't understand, for him to do that was really, really big. Really big. There's not many people that would, he can't get in trouble for it. So at the end of the day, it's just his demonstration, and I really appreciated that. In more demonstrations, moving right along, the Miss America competition is getting rid of the swimsuit competition on there. You know what? I kind of booed too about it because it's already for men. It's we like what we see. We're visual creatures for the most part. I can't speak for every man. I'm just speaking generally, but that competition been going on for years. You change it because everybody's so sensitive. I didn't think they should change it. That's my opinion, but to each his own. Obviously you don't want to disinclude people, but just make the criteria bigger. You don't have to get rid of something. There's a lot of women that have that have weight on them that look beautiful in bikinis. It doesn't have to be a Barbie figure, not to me at least. So you don't have to get rid of the competition. Why don't you just fix it to where you can include everybody? Because doing that is saying, oh, we want to only see the slimmest of women or whatever their criteria is. Why not just open the criteria?
Inclusive.
Yeah, why not? That's just to me, like you said, when you voted, that's the first thing came to mind. I'm like, why are you getting rid of something you can just change? Yeah. You change everything else.
Just a little tweak or augment.
Yeah. So to me, when you have contestants and they want to compete, you ask them, say, hey, do you feel comfortable doing this? Do you feel comfortable doing that? You give them the choice versus saying, this is the criteria, or completely cutting the criteria. Like, do you think that would play a factor going forward with people even competing?
I think it will. You know, with the pageant industry, these kids start like at 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah.
And they're grooming them through diet and workouts. Then they get to that point, it's like, well, what's the point of us even doing this?
Yeah.
But it should still be all-inclusive and have different variety of physiques, and not just one particular cookie-cutter approach.
Yeah, and to make matters even worse, they're getting rid of the evening gown portion as well.
Wow.
So it's like, you know, it's no longer a pageant. It's just a competition now. And it used to be a pageant. And that kind of sucks to me, because it's like they're changing everything, from the Boy Scouts taking stuff out of their names, everything. Everything's changing because everybody's so sensitive about nothing, really. You know, I say that because I'm a little older. I'm 35. I'm not old, but, you know, things were different when I was younger. It's like people weren't as sensitive. I guess social media has something to play in that as well.
Hypersensitive, actually.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Okay, on to some more interesting and weird stories. It's a nasty obituary for a Minnesota woman. Have you heard about this?
I haven't heard about
All right, good. I can tell you a story. All right, when a person dies, you should really speak well of them for the most part, right?
Right.
Well, not for this one Minnesota woman. Her obituary was very clear. They're happy that she's dead. Yes. Her name is Kathleen Demlow. She died on May 31st in Springfield at the age of 80. And the obituary submitted to her local newspaper was by her 2 children. And they make it really clear that they are pleased that she is no longer with us.
Wow.
I actually have the obituary. I'm going to read it to you because it's very quick. It's not long. I'm going to post it up so everybody can read along. When I tell you, this obituary is wild. So check this out. Kathleen Demlow was born on March 19, 1938 to Joseph and Gertrude Skunk of Wabasco. She married Dennis Demlow at St. Anne's in Wabasco in 1957 and had 2 children, Gina and Jay. Not J. Cole, Jay. Gotta make sure you mention that. It's kicking back, not with J.O. In 1962, she became pregnant by her husband's brother, Lyle Demlow, and moved to California. She abandoned her children, Gina and Jay, who were then raised by her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Skunk. She passed away May 31st in Springfield and now will face judgment. She will not be missed by Gina and Jay, and they understand that this world is a better place without her. Damn.
Wow.
If you had obituary, Mr. Harris, what would you want it to say?
Some kind things. Wow, that's amazing.
And those are her 2 kids.
I guess I can understand why they'd be a little ticked off there, but I would still think they'd find a few words of comfort and something pleasant to say about her. But
I had so many questions. I was like, okay, did she ever come back into their life? Did she ever tell them the truth? How did they find out? Did they just let it linger? Did she never respond to them? Because, like, for them to hold on to that, the lady was 80 years old. Like, how long did they hold on to that? Like, did they sit and wait on it? Like, ooh, I can't wait till she died.
Yeah. They probably had a couple policies put on her too, though.
Oh, you don't think they did? I'm sure they did. I'm sure they're happy.
So they're extremely happy now.
Yeah. When I saw that, man, I was like, man, I gotta read that to my people, man. If you've seen any, I'm asking all my watchers, have you seen anybody that has something like that? Tell me a crazy story, a funeral story. You can post it in there if you have any crazy funeral stories. I haven't been to any crazy funerals. They all been pretty sad. I've been to my fair share, but I've never in my life seen an obituary like that. I mean, they handed it to her.
That's amazing.
Like, how in the world would you do that to your mom? Like, I mean, she did sleep with your uncle technically, and had, did they run away with each other, or I don't know. It didn't really go into detail. The point I'm trying to make is that was probably one of the nastiest obituaries I have ever seen in my life.
So they had cousin siblings.
Did they have are they cousins or are they like brother and sister? How does that work? Ned, Janelle, do y'all know are they brother and sisters? Are they cousins? Or are they both?
Both.
How can you be both?
You are. You double relate.
Don't that make the kids like retarded? I mean, not retarded, but slow. Excuse me. I don't want to say retarded.
Cousins
Like, don't that make them like a higher arc of having a disability?
No.
Because they swiping blood.
It's
I guess they're couplings instead of cousins and siblings.
Man, that's some Jerry Springer, Maury Povich mess. I slept with my brother's sister, and now I don't know who kicks mine. This up on Jerry. You are or are not, or the father, or y'all cousins. Like, that's crazy. I've never seen anything like that. I guess at the end of the day, I mean, she will face judgment, but that's not up to them to place judgment. So even if that did happen, I think in my life, I don't think I would be as cruel to like they aired out the whole business. I understand you upset with somebody, but how long do you really hold on to a grudge? That don't really, you can die over stress like that. But that's just me. But I guess when you in Minnesota, they don't really care. I guess that was crazy. Like, how do you, your cousin is your brother? Damn. How does that work? All right, I'll move on to my last story. A Texas man was sentenced to 50 years for stealing $1.2 million in fajitas. Yes, this is a true story. I told you I found some crazy stuff.
That's crazy.
Look, I'll read it to you. A Texas man who pled guilty to stealing more than $1.2 million in fajitas while acting as a public servant has been sentenced to 50 years in prison. Roberto Escamilla, 53 years old, was employed at the Darrell B. Hester Juvenile Detention Center in San Benito, Texas, until August 2017, when it was discovered he had been placing orders for fajitas using county funds and then selling them for his own profit since December 2008. He was doing that for 9 years. Wow. When he was sentenced on last Friday, Escamilla was also served with the maximum fine of $10,000 on top of the $1.2 million he was ordered to pay back for the cost of the fajitas, officials said. His scheme was unraveled last August after a delivery driver with the food service phoned into the detention center to give the employees a heads up that an 800-pound delivery of fajitas had arrived. Now, the employees immediately thought the delivery to be suspicious because as minors at the detention centers aren't served fajitas. So the delivery driver said he'd been delivering fajitas there for the past 9 years. So he basically dry snitched he dry snitched on accident. So he was fired and arrested. They searched his house. They found packages of fajitas everywhere. Like, he's a stone cold hustler. You at a detention center, you got 9 years under your belt, and you getting fajita meat sent to your job, and you hustling it. So my question is, they find him. He stole 1.2 million. So how much did he get? Maybe half that. Like how much street value is a fajita? How much is 1.2 street value of fajitas on the street? Like, is he selling out of a restaurant, a food truck? What is he doing? But man, I read that. I said, okay, so I blame the people that run this center. You wanna know why I say that? How did he do this for 9 years? How? Tell me how in any center where you're ordering food. And he's stupid enough to order 900 pounds. Like, why don't you just order a little bit at a time, stay under the radar? You could have been doing this and retired. Yeah. Now you caught. Like, that was the dumbest thing ever. But, like, do you even like Mexican food?
I do.
That much? So you would have been on that train.
That much, though.
You've been on that train. You had the fajitas.
I don't like it that much.
Hey, Sean, man, I'm here. I got the fajitas, man. They on the low. $5. You get 3 for the 5.
Man, he had welcome to Moses in the garage there.
Man, he had Chipotle. He had the whole, whatever you wanted, he had fajitas.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
That's 1.2 million is a whole
lot of meat.
A lot of meat. It's a lot of money worth value meat. Meat ain't cheap.
Nope.
You go into a grocery store, you ain't getting no meat for 99 cents. You know what I mean? That's especially fajita meat. So you thinking probably chicken. You're not thinking beef. You probably thinking high-end chicken, lean chicken. Whatever he ordering, they ain't catching them. 9 years though. Yeah. You can do something for 9 years and get away with it, and then get caught in the 9th year.
No, that's lack of accountability.
Ain't even do 50 years for it. 50 years.
Yeah, had some other help.
Oh, he had to. Somebody was in on it, but
9 years.
Somebody snitched on him, and that was the issue. So I don't feel bad for him, because if he was dumb enough to pull that off, I mean, that's on him at the end of the day. But to each his own.
Yeah, so have a lot of chicken in prison though.
Yeah, apparently they don't. What do they serve in prison? Do anybody know? Do they serve chicken in prison?
Sandwiches.
I don't think they serve chicken or real chicken in prison. It might be chicken pieces that people don't eat. You know, I wouldn't know, but yeah, that's crazy. And it's a detention center. Like, so it's kids. It's not men. Because I'm pretty sure they would have found out if it was like the actual prison or something like that. Because the detention center, you can probably, I guess you could fly under the radar, but for how long? Like,
yeah, not a decade. That's
it's a long time, man. That's crazy. But before I end what the hell happened this week, I found the video, right? So I explained this video before I show it. Now, I saw this video last year sometimes, and I thought it was a joke, but this dude is really on YouTube. Like, he has several songs. Like, it's nuts. But this one plays in particular because it has something to do with What the Wealth. And I think that some people probably been in the same boat, whether, you know, you made it and you have some sort of wealth, or you just getting by, or you're not getting by at all, you're struggling, right?
Okay.
So this dude made a song, and when you watch the video, you're gonna, I don't know if you'll laugh, but it's definitely weird. So this kid's name is Lewis Cole, right?
Okay.
And the song's called Check My Bank Account. It's not long, but I'm gonna play it, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Gotcha.
After we play this video.
I like that cut off McDonald's shirt.
The cut off McDonald's shirt. Whoa, like with the 1980s jumper, AC Slater pants. Like, did he work for McDonald's? Is that why he was scared to check his bank account? Have you ever, in your lifetime, ever been like in that situation? Like, man, I don't even want to check it. Like, I know ain't no money in there. Like, it's about 25 cents in that thing.
I've definitely been there before. You kind of have to creep up on the ATM machine.
Like, you look at it slowly. You look at it real slowly. Like, I'm gonna head up to this ATM real quick. Let me see if I can get at least 20 out of that thing. They got $10 ATMs now. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think I want to say BMO or somebody like that. So the BMO bank does $10. It's a couple in the area. Not in the area, but in. There's actually one in Decatur. I used to live in Decatur. It's a $10 ATM. Yeah.
I haven't heard of that.
Yep. It's only in the hood. Don't get it twisted. It's not one of those. You can't go down on Lenox Ave.
Wow.
You can't go to Lenox Mall until you go get a $10 ATM. It's not go.
The bank fee will take most of that.
Man, what? They gonna charge you $3, so you take spending $3 to get 10.
Wow.
I'm just saying. I mean, if you really need it that bad, I ain't judging because I've been there. I ain't gonna lie. I've been in this situation. I've been tight, so it's cool. But now we get to that portion. We're gonna go ahead and talk to you a little bit more about, you know, your books. Like I said, you're a 6-time author. We'll start with the chronicle order of the books. Let's start with your first book. Tell me a little bit about it, and what inspired you to really, get into writing books.
Gotcha. My first one was Leaning Forward Towards Success. Just recently redid this one here about a month ago. But what inspired me, my parents, actually, when I was little, we used to get an allowance for doing our chores.
Gotcha.
And a lot of people today tell me, man, you got paid to do what you're supposed to do anyway. So
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I did actually, but mom and dad caught on to that kind of quick.
Right.
So they were like, look, in order for you to continue getting a paid allowance, you're gonna have to start writing an essay.
Oh.
So I said, okay, this is interesting. I said, well, what do I write about?
Right.
So mom and dad was like, well, write about whatever you want to. And I was a middle child, so I suffered from middle child syndrome.
Gotcha.
So most of mine would be either how my brother beat me up or my sister got better treatment than I did. So I was kind of stuck in the middle.
Okay.
But when I started writing, I found that my writing skills increased. My grades in school as far as English started increasing. I got good at using word pictures.
Okay.
So that I could use more adjectives and bring the reader to my point of view.
Yeah.
So they can
it can develop. You develop the story. Right. Absolutely.
Right. So Dad always told me, he said, "Hey, you got a book inside of you."
Wow.
I'll never forget that. So
Okay.
and he told me that ever since I was a kid.
Wow.
So as I got a little older, I would just give out what I consider free information, free advice on business, finances, things of that nature. And a lot of people say, you know what, you should write a book on that. So just kind of, I'm the type of person that, like my phone today, I just take my my voice notepad and I just talk.
Oh.
And before you know it, I'll have a whole chapter
Wow.
that I would do in an audio form.
Okay.
Then later, I just kind of cut and paste, put my notes all together, formulated, and I was like, you know what, I do have books here.
Wow.
So that was a culmination of the first book.
Okay.
And again, like I said, my parents gave me the choice to either go to school, get a job, or go to the military. So I chose the military. Thought I wasn't gonna be told what to do, and they still told me what to do a little bit.
Absolutely.
But,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did ROTC in high school. I was out of that thing in 1.5 years. I didn't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah.
I think I have issues with that. I don't like
I
being
do
told
too.
what to do. I'm one of those people that even if at a job, it's like, you're gonna tell me what to do, just tell me what my job responsibility is.
Right.
Let me do my job.
Do it.
Don't tell me nothing
Right.
else. I think I suffer from that a little bit in personal as well as business, but that's just me. But and I was happy you came on, because as a writer myself, I do my own films and screenplays myself. I write web series and things like that I'm developing. But it's always inspiring to find somebody that that has that experience, that can talk about their stories and things that they do.
Gotcha.
So when you started writing your book, I know you said it was early on. When did you decide that you really wanted to get into that? Was it after the military, or?
It was after the military. I went to the military, wanted to kind of I want to grow up on my own type of experience,
okay.
travel the world, did everything. But I always knew, because my parents were both business owners, and I always knew that I wanted to come back and be a business owner at some point.
Right.
When I decided to grow up.
Right.
When I got out, I got into law enforcement. That was always a childhood dream.
Okay.
So, I kind of played around kicking indoors and all that kind of stuff for a living. But, after a couple bullets whiz by you, you kind of start looking at things a little different.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
And I said,
that changed the game. It's not
Yeah.
not something you want to do if that's not the type of adrenaline rush you want. Then that's not what you want to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I tell you, I found out I was allergic to hot lead, so I looked at some different options.
Well, I think I am too. I don't want to. I ain't allergic to nothing but that. I ain't got no allergies, but I got that. Yeah, I feel you on that
I
one.
run from that one.
Yeah.
So, at that point, I recognized and said, you know what? There is a need for what I have. So instead of just kind of keeping it, like I always said, the biggest way to keep a secret is put it in a book.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I got all this in my mental book. I had to figure out a way to put it on the paper. So once I got it out there, and I just kind of did a survey before I put it out. Say, if I had to put a book out, would you buy it? And they were like, absolutely. So once I did, that first book, I had like 50 pre-sale orders before I came out with the actual hard copy.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, this can work out for me.
Yeah.
So that's what really got me out there. And then when you start writing books, you realize that just one chapter in a book can be a book in and of itself.
Yeah.
If you have the knowledge on it, just to expound on it.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of segued me into other books.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the layers of a book is important, because the stories are important. They all matter. Everything, every word you write has meaning to it. It's not if you really having something that comes from your heart, it's not a filler. It's something that you really want to present to the world. So that, like I said, being a book writer, somebody that's written before, I understand how that works for you, and even the way you go about it, that's pretty interesting. Like, is that how you write all your books conceptually, or do you outline them? How does that work?
It is. The first book I actually wrote, The Leaning Forward Towards Success, I actually physically wrote that down. Wrote it,
wow.
Typed it in Word, perfect, and that was the hard way of doing it.
Yeah.
But now it's just so many different tools and apps that I use now, where I just kind of talk and throw it in a big mixing pot, spread it out later.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then just kind of separate it out.
Okay.
So it's much easier now to write, because that's what a lot of people, they get the writer's block a lot of times.
Gotcha.
So as opposed to trying to, I can think far faster than I can write.
Right.
So, and I can do an audio version of it, it's so much easier, and I can go back and I can actually add additional information to what I had already put in the voice text.
Okay, so do you have audio versions of all your books, or?
No, just the last two I did ebooks on
Okay.
those, and we're going to be doing an audio book on the K-Lock Racing Kipreneur,
Okay.
and also leaning forward towards
Yeah, I
success.
definitely wanted to ask you about the one with your beautiful daughter on there. I have a
Yeah.
3-year-old son, and just tell me a little bit more about your inspiration on that book.
Yeah, that book, actually, it was a lemon of a story that we turned into lemonade.
Wow.
My daughter, at the time she was 7 when the incident happened. She was actually taken out of her school, extracted by school by what we thought was a DFACS caseworker.
Mhm.
In fact, was a DFACS tech worker who
Oh.
wasn't even qualified to be transporting.
Wow.
But her name is Kennedy, spelled with an I.
Mm-hmm.
They were looking for a Kennedy spelled with a Y.
Oh.
And there's a 2-year age difference. And when I actually saw the other Kennedy, it's like a 1-foot difference in height. So what happened, I went to pick her up from school one day at her after-school care, and she wasn't there. And she'd been going there since she was 2 years old.
Mm.
So she was very acclimated with how the system works over there.
Right.
So they were like, well, she wasn't on the bus today. And I was like, well, what do you mean she wasn't on the bus? Let me go back here and check. And they said she never checked in. So we immediately called over to her school, and they kind of gave us a run around, and ultimately hung up on us.
Mm.
So they called again, and then they clicked the phone again. So I immediately jumped in my truck and ran over to her school, which was about 2 miles away.
Okay.
And having a law enforcement background, I made contact with the school police, the resource officers in that county, and said, hey, get an officer over there to meet me in case she was out wandering around somewhere lost. And when I got there, the assistant principal greeted me at the front door, and she was like, oh, she got on the wrong bus, went to a different daycare.
Mm.
Went to the wrong daycare is what they told me. And I was like, she's been going for 2 years. She knows exactly where to go.
Right.
And I was like, well, what daycare she at? I'll go get her. Because I assumed it couldn't be too far.
Right.
If it was a local daycare.
Right.
So they're like, well, she'll be here in a minute. And a minute turned into 5 minutes, and I was like, where's my daughter and where did she go? And they got pretty irate.
Right.
And they knew my history as a police officer.
Right.
So they're like, okay, Miss Harris, we're coming off and we need to talk to you. And then that's when they spilled the beans and said that a defects worker had actually picked her up about 2 hours earlier.
Okay.
From the classroom. So kind of fast forward a little bit, demanded her to get the worker on the phone who had my child. So I spoke to her on the phone. I said, let me speak to my daughter. So I tried to comfort her. And once she heard my voice, she really panicked, and I could tell she had been crying before. Just hear it in her voice.
Yeah.
So I assured her that she'll be with me shortly and will be safe and everything. So once I physically got her back in my custody, we of course had a big powwow in the office. So that was the inception of the book. At that point, it was a very traumatic experience, of course.
Absolutely.
She cried all night, didn't want to go to school the next morning, so I had to literally pry her out of the bed the next morning, comforting her, letting her know that it'd be okay. I walked to the school, took her to the classroom and everything, and